Lester lived in a small, close-knit community. He was known to many because of his kindness and generosity. He was a professor at a university in the next town, while his wife, Matilda, stayed at home, although she was bored out of her mind most of the time. Their two kids, Andre and Sam, were at college in the next state as their preferred courses were not available at the university where Lester taught. One day, on the way home, after they dropped Sam and Andre at their dorm, Matilda noticed a new and shiny, expensive-looking stroller on the side of the road. "Slow down, honey, let's take a look at that. I hope that's just a stroller with no baby inside," Matilda told Lester. Although she was truly hoping there was no baby in the stroller, she feared she wasn't right. As soon as the car stopped, Lester and Matilda got out and walked towards an abandoned stroller on a road where not a lot of people traveled daily. "Oh no, there's a baby," Matilda said, as soon as they were close enough to see the outline of a baby. They walked faster until they reached the baby. "Oh, poor baby, but at least it doesn't seem you've been here too long," Matilda cooed. "Let's go, honey, before it gets dark," Lester told his wife as he pushed the stroller towards the car. Once inside the warm car, Matilda checked the baby and tried to see if there was any injury. It was then that she noticed that the baby's entire ensemble was quite a fortune. Even the stroller was from an expensive brand. "He's rich. I mean, his parents are," Matilda said, obviously controlling her rage. Always in tune with his wife's mood, Lester said quietly, "That just makes it worse. They have the means to care for the baby but have decided not to, and to just leave him on the side of the road. Who does that?" "He looks like a special needs baby, Lester. I think that's why they abandoned him," Matilda said, with tears in her eyes. She knew what special needs children looked like as she volunteered at the children's center once a week. Just then, they arrived at the police station to see if someone would turn up looking for the baby. "Hey, Lester, sorry, but we haven't received any reports of a missing baby matching his description. If you'd like, you can leave him here and we'll try to take care of him until someone from the childcare services comes in the morning," the policeman said. Lester and Matilda exchanged looks before he told the policeman, "We'd rather take him home now if you don't mind. A cold precinct isn't a good environment even for a baby. Please direct the social worker to our house as soon as they come." Lester and Matilda then walked back to the car with the baby. They stopped at a local store to buy anything that the baby might need for an overnight stay. Some clothes, baby formula, diapers, and toys. In the morning, the social worker came knocking on the door. "He's through there. He doesn't look malnourished or anything, but he's really quiet. He hasn't even cried since we picked him up. He just fusses around when he's hungry," Matilda told the care worker. She then picked the child up, and much like Matilda's actions the day before, she checked for any bruises or injuries. "His clothes look expensive. It's a famous brand and my daughter has been saving up for her first child," said the social worker. "Even the stroller looks expensive. I don't see any reason why he could have been abandoned." She said this as she shook her head sadly. She was used to people who abandoned or abused their children, but that didn't mean it no longer hurt to see the children who experienced that. "It does appear that the child has some sort of issue, as he just stares and doesn't cry," she continued. "Unfortunately, it'll take some time looking for foster parents for this baby." Once again, Lester and Matilda exchanged looks before Matilda piped, "We could look after him for as long as you need us to." "Will you? Well, that's great. I'll start the paperwork. It's great to see that the baby met you lovely people. I'll be on my way to start the ball rolling, but I'll keep you posted," she said before saying goodbye. By lunch, Lester and Matilda had called their sons to inform them of what they had decided to do. "The kids lucky you were the ones to find him, Mom and Dad," said Andre. "Yeah, I can't imagine why parents would do that to their own children. But Mom and Dad, make sure to take care of yourself, all right? Taking care of a baby isn't as easy when you have old bones," Sam said jokingly, but with affection. They tried to catch up for a short while before ending the call. Meanwhile, 5 states over, a polished husband and wife were sitting at the table as servants saw to their needs. They were quiet at first before Piper, the wife, spoke, after making sure that no one was within earshot. "David, did we do the right thing?" "Of course, we're too young to be saddled with an autistic child. That'll take too much of our time and energy," David answered. "Besides, I know he'll be taken care of in that place. My dad used to bring us there for vacation and the people there were great. No doubt they'll take care of that baby." At that very moment, Lester and Matilda were having lunch after feeding the baby. "I was thinking," Matilda began. "What is it, honey?" "This little bugger stole my heart," Matilda said affectionately as she looked at the baby. "Could we perhaps just adopt him? I've been volunteering at the center for a while, and children with special needs usually get left in the system because no one wants that added responsibility. Are you up for it? Like Sam said, we're not getting any younger. If you think that it wouldn't take a toll on you, then I'm all for it. But you have to be sure, honey. I can and will help out wherever I can, but you'll care for him alone whenever I have classes at the university, Lester answered. Yes, honey, I would like for us to do this, Matilda answered softly. Lester nodded and picked up the phone to call the social worker assigned to their case. Hi, this is Lester. Would it be possible to change the paperwork to adoption instead of fostering? He listened as the social worker spoke before saying, Yes, I understand. Thank you for your assistance. After the call, Lester faced Matilda and said, She said it might take long and that it would probably be a tedious process, so when she asked if we were sure, I said yes. Yes, we'll wait, Matilda said. After 6 months, the adoption was finalized, and they decided to name the baby Matthew, which means a gift from God. His birthday was registered as the day he was found on the side of the road. With Lester and Matilda's love, Matthew grew up a happy kid, although his speech impediment was still pretty obvious. Sam and Andre also doted on their new younger brother, and would usually compete to see who could bring better gifts for Matthew whenever they were home from college. When he turned 12, Matthew usually spent his afternoons either at speech therapy or in the kitchen. It appeared that Matthew had an innate gift for cooking. During the summer, Lester and Matilda built him a stand to sell lemonade and baked goods they all made together. At 15, Matthew's speciality was homemade ice cream. The entire community loved it and would usually ask Matthew to make it for them on special occasions. Matthew was happy to oblige. He could do what he loved best and earn money at the same time. The entire family loved to see Matthew's progress. There were times that he would still get antsy and would usually absently scratch on his birthmark just below his left ear, but he would eventually be able to handle his mood. On his 16th birthday, the family decided to surprise him with an ice cream truck. That's a great idea, Dad, Andre said when he brought up the idea. I could try to contact my former roommate whose family business is all about refurbishing vehicles. Maybe he can scrounge an old ice cream truck, Sam added. Matilda was sitting and listening as her boys talked more about the plan. And so, on the morning of Matthew's 16th birthday, Sam and Andre woke their little brother with goofy grins on their faces. Happy birthday, Squirt. Come on, get up. We have a surprise for you, Andre said excitedly. Sam then covered Matthew's eyes as they guided him outside. Once there, Sam dropped his hands, and all of them said, Surprise! Adjusting to the sudden brightness, Matthew shaded his eyes until they had adjusted. And that's when he saw the ice cream truck with large lettering on the side that said, For sale, Matthew's Ice Cream. It was also painted in his favorite color, red. He jumped enthusiastically and hugged his older brothers before he went to his parents. Thanks, Mom, Dad, you too, Andre and Sam, he said lovingly and quite loudly. The neighbors smiled indulgently at him. Suffice it to say that everyone in town loved Matthew. But I don't know how to drive, Matthew wailed when he realized. Calm down, Machu Picchu, Sam told Matthew, using his nickname as a child. We'll drive you around. After all, you can't drive and scoop ice cream at the same time. Oh, you're right. Thanks, Sammy, Matthew told his older brother. Only Matthew gets away with calling Sam Sammy. All right, let's have breakfast now. Everyone inside, Matilda said, feigning a strict tone. But the boys obliged and ran towards the house. Breakfast was a fun and noisy affair. They were trying to decide who would drive the truck around for the first time today. By the end, it was decided that Andre would do it. 2 days later, Sam was driving the truck around when the brothers decided to park near the playground. It was then that a couple, a man in a wheelchair and a woman pushing it, approached the truck. Hi, what can I get for you, ma'am? Matthew said with a big smile on his face. Hi, 1 mint chocolate chip and 1 strawberry, please, Piper said timidly. Okay, 1 pink and 1 green coming up, Matthew said as he noticed he was out of cones. Hey, Sam, he hollered to his brother. Can you please get me the cone from the top shelf? I can't quite reach it yet. No problem, here you go, Squirt, Sam told his brother affectionately before messing his hair. Piper watched the exchange, but when Matthew whipped his head to address his brother, it was then that she noticed the birthmark on Matthew's neck. It was in the exact place her baby's birthmark was, so she stared at Matthew. She guessed that Matthew's age would be close to that of her son, whom she once let go. Hi, how old are you? Piper asked. It looks like you're very young, but you appear to be very successful already. Thank you, Matthew said, smiling proudly. I just turned 16. My mum and dad gave this truck to me as a gift. He stuttered a little due to excitement. Well, you do have great parents, don't you? Piper replied. Yeah, they don't even treat me differently than my brothers. Even though I'm, what's it again? Adopted. Here's your ice cream, thank you. Matthew then turned to his next customer. Piper was shocked at this and walked very slowly towards David. Why did you take too long? David said with a struggle. He had just suffered a major stroke and was now forever bound to a wheelchair. That boy, David, he looked a lot like our son. He even has his birthmark beneath the left ear, Piper said softly. That's impossible. How can an autistic kid grow up to be as successful as that kid? That's just wishful thinking on your part, David said. Can't we approach him and say sorry? Piper asked. What for? Even if he is indeed our son, it remains true that we abandoned him before. So what's the use of approaching him now? If I were him, I wouldn't forgive us, he said bitterly. Come on, let's go back to the house. I don't like it here. The air is so stale. Piper complied and pushed the wheelchair, but not before looking at Matthew longingly. That night, Matthew came bouncing to the door and said, Mom, Dad, look, I earned a lot today. Did you? Let me see how much, Andre said as he approached his brother and messed with his hair. Hey, stop doing that. Mom, Dad, Sam and Andre always mess with my hair, Matthew appealed to his parents. You tattletale, Sam said playfully and tried to catch him, but he was quick to run around. Andre followed suit, and soon after the house was full of screaming from Matthew as his brothers gained on him, while Sam and Andre kept laughing and teasing their brother. Lester and Matilda sat at the dinner table, quiet and content. Hey, no running in the house, you're all too old for that, Lester called out, but he said it with an indulgent smile. It's good to see the boys grow up with a great relationship. Sam and Andre obviously still dote on Matthew, although they tend to argue sometimes, Matilda said lovingly. That's our boys, Lester said proudly. All our boys.